Hello, friends. Have you ever thought about buying property in a foreign country? Well, just so you know, you actually can't buy property in all foreign countries. Not all foreign countries will allow it if you're not a resident, if you're not a legal resident. But there are some foreign countries that are known as retirement or expat havens where you can buy property. And one of those countries is Costa Rica. So, who are we? We're the West Coast Strays. My name is Annette, this is Cody, and this is Cali. And we have just moved to Costa Rica to find our forever home. The backstory on that for us is that I have been working and saving and pining and planning to purchase a forever home, a place where I can put down roots for over 8 years. And Cody and Cali have joined me in that journey. I adopted both of them from rescue organizations, and they need forever homes too. And that's why we call ourselves the West Coast Strays. So just a short 5 months ago, I got the idea to buy my forever home in Costa Rica. I was talking to my family about it, and my brother just kind of randomly said, well, I'm going to retire in Costa Rica. And I said, what? Costa Rica is expensive. You know, I had done the recon in other expat havens like, Mexico and Belize, and I'd even gone to Dominican Republic and Jamaica and a lot of different places looking for, a kind of tropical climate, ocean environment that I could retire to. And I'd never made it out to Costa Rica because, by all reports, it's expensive. It's not a place that you can retire cheaply. That random comment by my brother got me started on a massive research binge. And what I learned is that, compared to those countries that I just mentioned, Costa Rica is expensive, probably the most expensive. But compared to where I was living in Oregon, in the suburbs of Portland, it seemed very affordable. And so that began my search for a forever home. And I checked many listings. I looked at Facebook. I did all the research. And I planned the recon tour. In fact, if you want to know how to do all that research and what to look for specifically in terms of Costa Rica and what kinds of things you want to consider, if you want to look into Costa Rica as a place to own property, then I want to encourage you to look in the description below, and you will find a link to one of my previous videos where I talk about that specifically. The title of the video is How Not to Buy a Forever Home in a Foreign Country, because I give in the video all this advice about how to do your homework, and then I reveal that I didn't take my own advice. About this journey that we've been on, and I'm going to show you all about the surprises and pitfalls I've come across, and hopefully you'll enjoy that information, as well as lots of other information I intend to provide about how to create a small business that is pandemic proof, that you can sell for money in a pandemic. All right, so back to my story. I didn't take my own advice, and I found a property on the internet in Costa Rica, a country I had yet to visit, and put an offer on that property. I fell in love with it. And that's, exactly what you're not supposed to do. Everybody will tell you, research, go there, live in different towns, live in different times of the year, make sure the climate's really going to work for you, rent, see what houses are really like. That's what you're supposed to do. But no, not me. I fell in love with a house on the internet, and like I said, I put in an offer. Fortunately, it was just an offer, and I did not put down a deposit or anything like that because as you might expect, it didn't turn out real well for me once I got here. This is what happened. I showed up. I was expecting a house in cherry condition. This is the story that I had been told. I'd been told the story of this retired couple who had really high standards, who went and imported all the best furniture. The house comes fully furnished, and who took super good care of the home and just had a lot of pride of ownership, and just were the kind of people that really took good care of it and put all of the best things in it. And when I arrived, that is not what I found. The home was in terrible condition, and I found so many things wrong. I was just aghast. I couldn't even believe it. I was shocked. It was not anywhere near what I would call move-in ready. And, you know, a lot of the furniture was in crappy condition, and there was things that were corroded, degraded. The tenant did not take care of it at all. And the owners, who had taken such great care of it, actually came to find out they had moved out 4 years prior. So maybe it was cherry 4 years ago, but not anymore. The other thing that really scared the crap out of me is that when I arrived, a couple different people that I came to contact with, and they were like, watch out for that house. That house has a lien on it. That house, so apparently this house has a reputation. This is a small town that I chose, and that particular house has a reputation for having some kind of title problem. And so with those warnings and with finding the house in poor condition, I quick sent the information to my residency attorney. So I have an attorney for the real estate closing, but that attorney had been recommended to me by the real estate agent. So just out of an abundance of caution, I sent it to another attorney independent from the real estate deal, and he fired back an email that says, don't sign anything. So I pretty much freaked out, called off the deal, said, I'm out. I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to do this the way that you're supposed to do it. I'm going to go travel around the country. I'm going to rent for a year, try out different places, search the market, find a great deal, do my real estate searching on the ground as is recommended, because here in Costa Rica there is no MLS, so there is no central place where you can go see everything that's on the market. So it's really, really beneficial to search on the ground and get to know contacts and so on and so forth. I was like, that's what I should have been doing in the first place. This was a mistake. I'm out. Then the next day, well, all night, I stayed up all night looking at listings, not seeing anything I wanted, seeing maybe a handful of things that would be worth looking at. And the next day I got in the car and I started to do like recon on steroids. And I started to drive. First I started to drive south, and then I started to drive north, and I went to go check out all the other towns in the Central Pacific region, which is the region that I had selected, to see if there were other towns that could meet my needs and other properties that could meet my budget. So during that recon tour, I did take a bunch of video, and I am going to make a chapter here in our YouTube channel for you about all those different towns, all those different beaches, what they're like, what I thought of them. I did, you know, it was quite a tour, so might be 2 videos that come out for that. But definitely subscribe to the channel, and, you know, give this video a thumbs up if you want me to do more of this kind of recon, because just because I'm potentially about to, well, I don't want to spoil the story here, but I'm going to do more, and I want to share more with you. So, you know, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever it takes. Send me a comment. Let me know that you want more of this. Okay, so I did my recon, and honestly, I didn't like what I saw. That few handful of homes that I'd seen online were, when I went and drove to them, absolutely not acceptable for a bunch of different reasons. They look good online, but not in person, and that's exactly what everybody will warn you about when you want to go pick out a house online and buy it without even coming down here. I didn't like the towns. The beaches didn't meet my... I was I was already in love with this town. And when I was headed back, all felt like I was headed back home already. And when the realtor messaged me right at that moment, at the end of my recon tour, to tell me that the sellers had come down in price significantly to entice me back to the table, I cried all the way home. I was upset because I did love the town. It did meet my expectations. I did love the neighborhood. It's a gorgeous neighborhood, and it is different from all the other places that I saw. And the home itself, except for the condition that it was in, I loved the home. It met all of my expectations and my deepest wishes. Like, the thing that doesn't normally happen did happen. I loved it, and I felt like this, like I said, I felt like this town was home to me already. And I really, really, really wanted the house, and the sellers were willing to pay to bring it up to the condition that I expected it to be in, but there was still the question of the title issue, and that is something that money can't fix. And so I was devastated. But you know what? I persevered, and I did some more research, and I talked to some more people, and I discussed the issue with the real estate attorney. And let me tell you what I learned about property title in Costa Rica. First thing is that Costa Rica has a really, really robust property registry system in place. So, your real estate attorney can just tappity-tap online, pull up the title, and they can see if there are any liens on the property, who the owners are, whether the taxes have been paid. They can see the history of the property. So as far as like, oh, there's a lien, be careful. Well, I was satisfied that there was no lien. And I got the backstory on that. I'm not going to make this video too long and give you the whole backstory on that. But I was satisfied that the lien had been cleared off the property. And this is something that had scared people off from this property for years. The other thing I learned is about the title, the nature of the title. So in Costa Rica, as in any country, there are different types of title that you can have to property. And one thing that you'll learn if you do your research online, you'll learn that there is fee title, like straight, you own the ground, plain and simple, that's known as simple or fee title. And then there's something called concession title or concession. And that is what you get if you want to buy property on the coast, something like within 150 meters of the coastline. You can't actually own that property. You can basically purchase a 100-year lease from the city for the property. That's concerning, but even more concerning is that tourists can't own that property. Only legal residents can own that property. So in order to own property on the beach in Costa Rica, you have to have a partner, a Costa Rican partner, who will form a corporation with you and own the property, own 51% of the property or whatever percentage, and you own 49. And you basically just have to really, really trust this person to sign over their half at some point. There's definitely more detail to that, which I didn't go to much length to learn because I'm not buying on the beach. But you will hear and learn about that kind of title if you look online. But what I didn't find anywhere online in my research was a kind of title called co-derecho. Co-derecho title means co-rights title. And this is it's a condominium right. So you don't actually own the ground that your house sits on. You own a percentage right to the overall development. And this is really common. Obviously, this is what you're going to have in a traditional condominium style building where you have multiple units maybe stacked on top of each other, like obviously you don't get to own the ground that the building is on all to yourself. But commonly found here in Costa Rica are gated communities with gated security, and inside the community the roads are private and they're co-owned by all the property owners. Sometimes these communities have community swimming pools, playgrounds, other amenities. And these communities often have single family homes. They're not attached to each other. So I guess it might be kind of a surprise to somebody who's looking at, you know, a lot with an individual freestanding home on it to find out that you're not actually going to own the ground that the house is on. And this is what my residency attorney was not happy about. He did not like the co-derecho title. He didn't like the fact that there were many owners in this development. It's a fairly large development. So I guess my rights in this development might be diluted compared to maybe a co-derecho with 4 units or 10 units. And also I learned from some further investigation about the homeowners association and kind of like the unpleasant history of how this development came to be. Okay, so again, making a long story short, I'm not going to go into all the checkered past of this development. So this house had a history with the title, and the development had a history with the developer running off and not finishing the development, and blah, blah, blah. But I spoke with other residents of the development. I spoke with the president of the neighborhood association of the development, spoke again with multiple other people. And I have come to the conclusion that I am very comfortable with the co-derecho title. It means, like, basically, if I want to live in a gated community, that's all I'm gonna get. I mean, you can get fee title to properties in a community like that that back to a public road, although it's very expensive and time consuming to separate out from the development in the title. Basically, the co-derecho title is what you're going to get if you want to live in a gated community with security, which is what I want as a single woman living alone in the tropics. So I just basically resolved for myself, in my own mind, the title problem. And so what does that mean? That means I'm going forward with the purchase of the house. And I'm doing it today. In just a few hours, I will be meeting up with the real estate attorney and the real estate agent, oddly at a restaurant, which is definitely not what I'm used to. I'm also not used to having sent the money 2 days ago. I didn't send it to the sellers, I sent it to escrow, but that was weird. Well, I just wired the funds. Quite a lot of funds, the biggest amount of funds I've ever spent in my life. I just wired the funds to the sellers of my Furever Home. It's kind of anticlimactic, I have to say, because like I'm just sitting here in my little rental house and I don't have any keys or anything like that, but what they said to do. When we get the money, then we'll finish the closing. So, oh my God, I'm not even sure how I feel. Like I said, it's anticlimactic and totally scary. But like I said, in a couple hours, I'm going to be showing up at a restaurant and getting the keys and signing the papers to my new Furever Home. And so I'm really scared, because I've gotten a lot of, warnings about this property from people who don't really know, but who have heard rumors in the past because of the, previous history, which I feel I've investigated thoroughly. I'm really scared because this is not how I've purchased property in the past. In the past, you show up with a cashier's check to the title company, and you sign, and everybody signs, and a stack of papers, and you get the keys, and so to like send the money early and show up at a restaurant, it's kind of weird. But I'm gonna give you another video about that, about how that goes. And I'm going to give you another video about showing up at my new house with the keys that I've purchased, and how that feels. And I'm going to give you a video showing you about all of the things that are wrong with the house that need to be fixed, and the process of hiring contractors here to get it fixed. I mean, who knows what that journey is going to look like. But it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's probably going to be really scary too. So subscribe and put some comments down below. Tell me how crazy you think I am. Because, I always love when people agree with me. And thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Well, my friends, we are no longer strays. We now have a home to call our own.